Firstly, congratulations to South Africa. I thought they played particularly well and took all the chances that that were there on display to be taken. And you know, 30. Well, I think they scored 5 tries, so they've done a great job. And looking back on our own game, you know, obviously disappointed. Some areas that we're going to have to go away and do some work on, but at the same time, we're working on new structures and new things, and tonight we've got a team that put us under a lot of pressure and ask questions of those structures. So we'll go away and we'll learn from that, and I think we'll be a better team because of it. So whilst it's disappointing to lose, it's not all doom and gloom.
Kieran, was there a bit of chat about a drop goal out there?
Yeah, there was. Yep, and it's it comes down to, I guess, our drivers to make that call and go for it. I think LaRue made a hell of a play at the end there. If Damien catches that, I think we probably waltz in the corner. So it was just one of those ones where I guess the boys had a crack and didn't quite come off.
Steve, what did you make of some of those kind of decisions that happened out there like that? Can you hear me?
No.
What did you make of some of the decision-making that happened throughout the game?
Look, you're talking about millimetres, and if things had been successful, you wouldn't be asking me that question. You'd be going, oh, how great was that decision? But sometimes it doesn't come off, and that's my point about when we sit back and reflect on this game, we'll get some great learnings out of it, and maybe the drop goal, which we've got a set up for, would have been a good option. However, they chose to try and score a try, and it was there, we just didn't take it. So again, a good defensive read by South Africa. So again, I repeat myself, that they're lessons we have to learn and take with us.
Steve, I don't know if you could hear, but it sounded like the referee got some advice right at the end about, I think it was their 9 and 8 being offside, and Nigel either didn't hear or ignored it. What have you got a comment to make about that?
Oh, I just heard the same thing you did, but obviously Nigel didn't hear it, otherwise he would have done something about it. So, yeah. There's no point in me bitching about that. I mean, the game's about taking your opportunities and making sure the opposition don't, and we didn't do that tonight. So, the result is a credit to South Africa. I thought they played particularly well, and we'll come out of it with a lot of things to work on. So, we'll leave Nigel out of it.
Kieran, just again on decision-making maybe earlier in the game, were there some of those penalties that maybe seemed kickable? Were they ones that maybe Bowden just didn't feel tonight he was on form enough to take, or were you always confident in just going for the corner? Yeah,
look, I think it's just a feel thing out there in the game, and certainly South Africans were, I think, 14 points ahead a couple of those times where, a try obviously was needed, and a 3 points wasn't going to help us. And I think when the sin bin was there, we had to back ourselves, I think, to score a try. I felt we were in a position to do that. Probably, it took us a time to get there. Potentially we'd nailed that. In hindsight, it's an opportunity potentially to look back on and maybe do something different.
Steve, a fairly unfamiliar feeling. What's it like? Does it sting, the loss?
What do you think? Spot on. I mean, I'm not sure how much sport you played, but if you did, any time you lose, it hurts. Of course it hurts. I mean, the dressing room's very sombre, very quiet, and as you say, it doesn't happen very often, but it's important that we learn something from it. Otherwise, the whole thing's a waste of time. And we'll do that. I'm confident we'll do that. We're a side that learns pretty quickly. But as I said right at the beginning, you've got to give South Africa some credit for what they did, or a lot of credit for what they did. And, they came out with a plan. Their plan was to put pressure on us, and they did that. And, they scored 5 tries. So we can be as hurt as we like. Not going to change the result. But we do have to get ourselves picked up off the floor and carry on and be the rugby side that we can be, and look forward to starting that on Sunday.
Coach, what is your view on the South African number 11 who scored 2 tries, and what advice would you give him, because he looks like quite a good prospect for the future?
What do I say to him? I wish he don't score 2 tries. Yeah, he is a good prospect, isn't he? He's quick, he's fast, he did his job well, and you know, again, can't compliment South Africa enough. So I think Rassie's he's rolling the dice. He's not playing the same team very often, but what he is doing is starting to try and build a bit of depth, and you know, he'll get rewards for that as time goes on.
Steve, if you need to rate the Boks out of a point of 10, how much will you give them?
Yeah, tonight they won, so you give them 10 out of 10. You know, like, I mean, it's a loaded question, really, because sport's such a fluid thing. So tonight's their night, and they should enjoy that. They've got to now learn whilst they're winning. They came here really desperate to win after 2 losses, and it's a difficult thing to learn when you're winning. You know, for us it's going to be a lot easier because we just got beaten. So for us there's a bit of pain involved, and everybody will move their gluteus maximus from the back of the seat to the front, and they'll be a little bit more edgier than we have been for a while. So as I said, it won't do us any harm.
Steve, you've often said that you sometimes analyse games as losses. How important to actually have the emotion that comes with a loss when you're going to be analysing this game, just to reinforce some of these lessons?
Yeah, well, I think it's important, you know, to handle the emotion. Like, you don't want to get too emotional about it, because, you know, you start doing irrational things. What you got to do is look at it and be clinical. And you know, that's the coach's job. So myself, Fozzie, Chrono and Stormy will have to sit down and go through the game and then provide you know, something for the players to look at as a collective, and then they'll look at their own individual performances. And again, if you allow the emotion to drive that process, then you know, you could go anywhere. But it's important we go in the right place, and what's critical that we improve, and you know, we know what we're trying to do is on the money. We just got to get better at doing it, and how do we do it when we have circumstances like we had tonight, so we can continue to come out on the other end. Like, we did score 6 tries ourselves, didn't we? I think, did we score 6? Yeah. So yeah, we didn't do too bad on the attacking side of things as it was, but you know, 11 tries in one game, probably neither side's going to be too happy about the defence, so we'll have a look at what we're doing.
Steve, a couple of earlier than normal changes, and bringing on TJ and Damien, was there any particular reason for that, and were they able to sort of inject any different energy into the side?
Yeah, well, 2 questions in one, so we'll answer the first one. Any reason? Yeah, there was a reason. We were struggling with the group we had on the track, and that's why you have a bench, you know, and it's got to be, you don't go in with preconceived ideas, you go in with what's happening, unfolding in front of you. So we felt that TJ would add a difference to what Nugget was doing, and I think he did that. I thought he came on and played particularly well. And as did Damien, you know, but end of the day, your bench is there to be used when you need to use them, and that's always based on what the opposition or how you're travelling as a team. So it'll never be the same from week to week.
We'll have 2 more questions. Lisa and then Joe.
Ian, there was at any point a discussion about to let Jury or Damien be in charge of the kicking?
Yep, it's one of those things we sort of left them on the field. It's, you know, we spoke about in the box the possibility of changing, but it's you know, Bodie, like, he missed 2 out of the first 4, didn't he? And then I admire him for stepping up, and he hit the post with his last 2, so that shows you the margins. But Yep, I mean, I know that they would have discussed it. We've discussed it during the week about what happens in those situations, but Bodie obviously felt he was kicking the balls pretty well, but post got in the road.
I'd add to that too, like goal kicking is a really difficult job. You know, the young fella kicking with South Africa kicked 100%. Go back and look at his stats for the last 2 tests. Tiger Woods hits a good golf ball every now and again. He hits a bad one, and again, it's a part of our sport that you only have to be that much out, and you don't get the results. And we could sit here and we could turn around. Yeah, could have kicked a couple of goals and won the game, but that's not why we lost the game. That's why I said to Patrick when he said about the call that Nigel missed. That's not why we lost the game. We lost the game because we allowed South Africa to score 36 points. That's something that we can control as a team. It's a team game, and in this case, I know Bowden's feeling it, and he'll be disappointed, but he'll come out next week maybe and kick 100%, and that's the way goal kicking is. You can't carry that bag of coal around on your back all the time, because it would kill you. So whilst it would have been nice, it just didn't happen tonight. And as Foz said, hit the post twice. Can't get too much closer than that.
Last question, Joe. Thank you.
Kieran, do you think your team matched the South Africans tonight for hunger, looking at all the tackles they made? And I guess you talked on Friday about how you wanted to see your players respond. That was sort of what you were looking for, and how do you think they did that?
It's that type of question where obviously we didn't get what we wanted. When a team, we come up against a team and let 5 tries in, it's not where we want to be. So that's probably the bit where we'll look at and see if that's. It's a hard one, because I think our hunger was there. We prepared really well. So was it technical? What was it? Attitude? I'm not sure. We'll look at that, and the coaches will do that job. And when we come back together, it's got to be, make sure we figure that out. But I'd definitely give the South Africans a lot of credit. We came here, but they certainly came up and, really put pressure on the parts of our game that potentially we knew we're trying to exploit in different parts of the game, and they came up and, brought line speed, really came at us. So there's bits of that game that, we'll look at and go, we're not happy, and it's evident in our changing shed. Important that we get our lessons and move forward from it.